Hello, Adele.
Hi, Mom. All the way in Philadelphia.
Still
week.
Here.
You're never coming home, are you?
No, I've decided to stay. Ed Glassman, who we'll be meeting in a little while, asked if I would come and just hang out and do whatever. And I won't be a nuisance, I'm sure.
You're never a nuisance. Meanwhile, I am in the studio. I'm in your studio, and I just watched the dogs get harnessed for their big snow sledding expedition or wherever.
The Iditarod.
10 pounds total of dog and upgoing. They were all harnessed and ready to join the big dog excursion.
I know, and they walk into it. It's nothing but big dogs, and Roxy, who's 10 pounds, is convinced that she's big and should be in the Iditarod.
Roxy wants to be 10 pounds. She's like 7 pounds.
So I have to tell you, I walked into the school and a teacher came out who I haven't seen since I left Pennsylvania, gave me a hug. And I just realized that the painting that is behind you is one she painted of Rittenhouse Square.
What is her name?
Judy Callis.
Judy Callis. I love this painting.
I know. And she could tell you the whole story, but I can't because I don't remember. I barely remember Philadelphia.
We'll put the website in the link.
Well, this is sort of part 2 of our podcast, and it is so exciting because we have interviewed students in their entrepreneurial work, and now for this session, we get to meet the man who makes it all happen, the executive director of the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. And so he's going to be joining us in a moment after we've finished nattering on.
You really are a world-class natterer.
We are. And I want to tell you that my wonderful colleague, Maria, picked me up because I think they got word of my electric orange car and they didn't want it at the school.
The So Mom Mobile.
It was the So Mom Mobile. Yeah, nobody wants it. Everybody keeps saying, no, I'll give you a ride.
Don't trouble yourself.
Yeah. Here he comes.
Hello. So excited to natter with you.
Thank you for joining So Mom.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to have Priscilla back on campus. Thanks for loaning her out to us for a little bit. I loved seeing her.
Yes, she's on a short-term lease.
That's right. And I loved seeing her with our students this morning.
It was fun. So I'm going to offer a little bit of an introduction. And I take such personal pride in the man sitting to my left. Ed Glassman is a class of 03. He graduated from Chestnut Hill Academy, which, as you know, merged with Springside School. And he is the executive director of the Sand Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership of SCH in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And before returning to his alma mater in 2014, he built products for Fortune 500 companies, ran the Chicago Innovation Awards, and co-founded the Tribeca Flashpoint College. And under his leadership here, CEL has served over 1,000 students and supported 350 ventures. Philadelphia Business Journal just named him to the 2024 40 Under 40. And the College Board tapped him to help with a new AP Business Principles course. And I had the honor and privilege of hiring Ed before I left SCH because I had seen him as a student. He was one of those scholar athletes, but mostly I remember him on stage. And as a theater major, anybody who can wow me on stage absolutely has a career in doing whatever. But he has built this program into something that is incredible. And I would love to talk to Ed for a few minutes about the OG story of CEL.
Thank you so much for that kind intro. It's been an incredible journey, and I never thought my career would bring me back to my alma mater, but thanks to you and your visionary leadership, we have something really special here, as you've seen.
This space, I was saying to the students that there is a table here that's in the front as you walk in. And when we had this idea, the director of finance actually helped to make this table that was from a felled tree on this Springside campus. And it became the table for CEL. Did you know that?
Classic Frank Aloise. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Classic Frank Aloise.
Oh,
yeah. So it's this gorgeous table, but it was the whole CEL when I was here. And I walked in, and is this the podcast studio?
This has become the podcast studio today. The podcast studio formerly is in the vidcast, which I believe is another part of your vision. So we have a separate room for that. But we thought today, we're not quite at video podcasts yet, but our podcast studio is a little closet. Might be time to upgrade it after being part of So Mom.
That's right. How can you go back?
That's right. We can't. We're never going
you can't go back to the... and actually, the wonderful engineer and producer of So Mom is a CHA grad as well. And I didn't know that when Adele and I were interviewing him, and he told me that the vidcast studio was where he really started his career.
That's right.
Yeah. He was in charge of the Philadelphia mural arts project.
Yeah, I would say applied knowledge has been core to the DNA of this school forever. You know, I mean, Steve's a great example of that, like students that are taking their skills and going out and getting internships and building things.
Yeah.
And I think that when you came up with this notion for CEL, it was kind of codifying that, right? Like putting our stamp on it. This is a school where you learn in a rigorous way, and then you can take ideas and bring them to life authentically, even as a 13, 14, 15-year-old. It's transformative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had asked the students, what, they're so smart. I talked about failure, and one of them said, we think of it as a setback, which is, you remember what she said, Adele? Setback was
a comeback.
Yes, a setback is a comeback.
I like that.
Isn't that great?
I'm going to have to put that on the wall.
I mean, I want to start putting that right into my life right now. A setback is a comeback is the smartest, also very sticky advice.
Yeah, very memorable.
I know I'll remember this.
Yeah.
Learning from students is my favorite thing.
Me too. That's why I love this job.
I was saying to Ed after the students left that not one of them used a diminutive term or filler words. And I love that their confidence, and they said, yes, I really presented well. And I thought, good for you. You don't hear kids say that.
Yeah. You have to build that muscle over time, right? I mean, for context, right, our program, our Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership, begins as young as pre-K. And every single student at the school goes through this curriculum sequence with design and engineering and business and how to bring cool ideas to life and how to work in teams. And at a young age, when we present them with these opportunities, they'll sometimes look at me and my fellow teachers and say, well, I'm just a kid. Like, this is all pretend, right? And then we can point to the wall and reference like the young women you spoke to earlier and say, no. If you go with us on this journey and believe in yourself, this can be as real as any adult's venture or project. And after they hear that year after year, it starts to become core to them as people, and they're able to be more confident, and they still listen and learn and understand that their journey is long, but the work that our students do every day is real. Like, it's out there. They're forming businesses and non-for-profits and building products and making a positive impact on their communities.
It's fascinating to me as somebody who's just sort of learning all about this right now, having my crash course this morning, that embedding entrepreneurship in very young students must really kind of add to that learning journey. But do you see kind of different inflection points, like a 5th grader versus an 8th grader, and how they take that sense of entrepreneurship and kind of integrate it into their studies? Could you
Absolutely. Well, the fun thing is for our youngest learners, they can't quite say the word entrepreneur. So we've started to call them makers and problem solvers and team players. We come up with different language, but the core of it is still the same, what we would call the entrepreneurial mindset. This is core to what Priscilla, began this program with. The idea that if you can be creative, if you can look at the world with an opportunity-seeking lens. In other words, when you see a problem, you don't think of that as, a roadblock. You think of it as a potential for an interesting solution. And most importantly, if you can be both resilient and resourceful, you can accomplish a lot. And we start to teach that early with projects that are, large in scope, but accessible to young people, that require them to work effectively in teams and communicate their ideas effectively, that usually culminate with some sort of authentic final product or presentation. Like next week, my son, along with his 2nd grade classmates, are opening their Gifts for Good store, where they've made bolo ties because they're studying the American Southwest. They use the laser cutter and the 3D printer, and they construct them. And then they open an e-commerce platform so parents can shop online. And they open a storefront, and the parents come through every morning and they shop, and all the proceeds are donated to a to kind of like First Persons like Navajo reservation. And they run everything. They have to talk about their products and how they made them and run the storefront. And then, so early on, it's just, wow, real projects. I can do this. And as they make their way into middle school, we broaden the scope of skills we're teaching them. So every middle schooler every year at our school, middle school is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. They have 3 CEL classes. And when you hear the word entrepreneurship, a lot of parents would imagine, a lot of people would imagine, it's business, it's finance, it's how do you start the next great tech startup. It's way broader than that at our school. We teach them coding, engineering. We have a whole class on teamwork and collaboration. We have a whole podcasting class. We have a whole video production class. We have a class where they have to give their own TED Talk. We try to build this skill set of how do you identify opportunity, bring cool ideas to life, present yourself, work in teams. And it all leads up to 10th grade, where every student at our school launches some sort of venture. We call that the capstone. The 3 young ladies you spoke with earlier, Marley, Ayana, and Blake, actually went beyond capstone. We have a small startup accelerator that's sort of like, Y Combinator Light, a very modest startup fund, a little shop we open in the shopping district here in Philadelphia every holiday season. And they go from, we investigated a business idea, we tested it with audiences, we refined it, we developed it, and then we're going to enter this elective where we can actually go and get funding and launch things. So just yesterday afternoon, as I was sharing with you, Priscilla, Ayana Banks, who was your guest earlier, won a $2,500 venture investment from the Philadelphia Eagles for her startup. We just took 60 of our students to New York to pitch their ventures at JP Morgan. And those are just 2 of countless examples throughout the year, how we tap into mentors and bring authentic learning to life through entrepreneurship, design, and technology.
So one of the questions I had, because when this was in its most nascent stage,
right. Early days,
there was resistance.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of resistance. This isn't real work. This isn't real school.
I ran into this too.
Did you?
Oh my gosh. Those first couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember whispers in the Interact. For context, we're in a very, very competitive Interact, school market, private schools, a lot of private schools in Philadelphia. And I remember our peer schools, they're becoming a VOTEC school. If you want real, if you want your kid to go to Harvard, stay away. Right. But I feel like we were on the cutting edge because now you look at the greatest, colleges and universities in the world.
Yeah.
They're all speaking this language of applied knowledge, entrepreneurial thinking. My alma mater, Northwestern, has a version of that. Syracuse has all of them do.
Yeah.
I felt like we kind of saw around the corner a little bit.
Well, it's interesting because what you did was you really created it from a tiny little nugget of an idea, and people who joined the sort of the movement really pushed it forward. But it's fascinating what others will use sort of against you. I mean, when we merged, other schools said, we've been doing co-ed forever. Why would you send your, to a school that's never done it? But I remember one of the deans at Penn saying she did a tour because she was also a parent, and said that this program was absolutely like no other she'd seen. And she said, this has a national reputation. So that's a credit to you.
Yeah. Never has this type of learning been more vital than today, right? You and your team early on made the point that the careers that these kids are going to be working we can't even imagine them yet, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you were talking about large language models and AI, you just didn't know it yet, right? So this idea of training our students to be flexible and adaptable and entrepreneurial is going to be what matters most. And now even the promise of college and university has changed fundamentally, right? So we need the best of both worlds, right? There are still this underpinning of like traditional liberal arts education is still core to what we do at this school, right? We're not a charter school where all we do is CEL, but we need to marry that with these more progressive project-based learning opportunities where students can pursue their passions in interesting and authentic ways. And we're doing it every day. The 3 girls you met earlier are 3 outstanding examples. But I could parade students in here for the rest of the day, who could tell amazing stories as well.
So you opened a little window because Adele and I have she's a mom of a preteen and a teen.
Yeah.
And we have been talking a lot about AI and the role in schools and, what this is going to mean and what incredible opportunity it is.
Yes.
And there's some schools that are shutting it down. I can imagine you're not.
Absolutely not. I think shutting it down would be as if when the internet was invented, you shut it down, right?
Yeah.
Like for better or for worse, the genie is out of the bottle. For better or for worse, students are using these tools. I think it's on us as educators to figure out how to teach them to use them in ways that make them more creative, more productive, more effective problem solvers, ways that do not replace them and the human-based role in building ideas, but supplements them and supports them. The fun thing for us in CEL is we get to play a little more. If I was the head of the English or history department, I would be up at night. I'd be staying awake up because it is really changing the way students are going to need to learn to write and to read. And you do deeply need to reevaluate the assignments you give them, the assessments you give them, because it's just inevitable that they're going to tap into these tools. We have a partner called Magic School. They're one of the big, AI in school providers. We do have some incredible teachers here at SCH that are leaning into that tool, which is basically AI large language model, but for schools where you have accessibility and optics into how the kids are using it and what they're writing. We're running a whole series of summer workshops by our faculty this summer focused on AI and how to use it in the classroom. Our friend Pete DiDonato, who we're going to have lunch with in a little bit, has been on the forefront of this, both in the classroom, but also for our staff and faculty. You have to lean in. I think it's vital. I do not think this is a trend. I do not think it's being overblown.
No.
Right? No. It is literally going to transform the face of every industry, and it is already. And education is one of those industries.
I read a Substack, somebody compared it to like a Red Queen race, where you have to stay very nimble because it's always changing. itself as they keep rolling out new models of AI. What really has become imperative is learning how to move with it.
I think that's beautifully put.
Is that something that you are finding?
Yes, absolutely. We have conversations with some of our colleagues here who say, well, it can't do math or science. It can't write this or that. And myself and my colleague, Scott Kirker, who works on this with me, and Pete, we always say, can't do it yet. Can't do it yet.
Yeah.
Right? You have to imagine there's what it's capable of doing today and the possibilities of tomorrow. And as a school, you have to be nimble enough to adopt and test and experiment with those tools and see what fits and what doesn't. Right? Now, we are very lucky here at SCH, especially in the CEL orbit. There aren't a lot of guardrails for us as faculty to get our hands on these things, right? Like, we're able to play and experiment. I imagine in larger school districts that have a little less accessibility, you might have to go through lines of red tape and bureaucracy before you're able to access the latest model of GPT and experiment with it to see how it might change a curriculum, right? But we're moving, and we've already changed the AI tools we're using 3 times in the past 12 months. And I'm sure it's going to change again in the months to come.
I am so excited to hear this. I know Adele is, because we have heard so many people saying, well, you can't do that. And it's the same argument we've had always in schools. Well, if you're never going to change as a teacher, of course this is going to impact you, but you have to grow. You have to become more entrepreneurial.
I'm glad I'm not an English professor, because the complexity of trying to sort through how and where students should creatively use these tools and where they should not is a huge challenge. Now, we have incredible teachers in those departments here, and they're doing a lot of really interesting things in that regard. I also think that kids understand that the dream of being a TikTok influencer is just like the dream that we had of being an MTV VJ 20 years ago or whatever, right? It's like, sure, cool job. Sure, 0.00001% of people will ever have the chance to make their fortunes doing that. It's the same dream as being a professional athlete. So I think kids are smarter than we give them credit for. How's that? That's what I would say for that one.
I like it.
So what about, this is one that I think about, entrepreneurship programs in high schools mostly benefit kids who already have access to capital and social networks.
No, I disagree fundamentally with that one too. I would say myth. I would say check out the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. CEL is the best in the world at this, but they're close second, and their entire mission is based on providing these resources and tools and networks to kids from every school district in America. I used to be a mentor there in Chicago, and for their Chicago chapter, I still attend their national competition. The kids that come out of that are amazing. They do not have the resources that a wealthy kid might have, but they are able to find those opportunities. And there are a lot of networks, especially in the United States, that are set up to provide those types of, funding and networks. And also technology and tools have kind of leveled the playing field, right? Imagine how expensive it would have been for the two of you to launch this thing 20 years ago. You would have had to have a radio partner, right? And now with some expertise from our friends at 7 Wonder, a few iPhones, a few mics. I mean, I have kids that are launching podcasts, and they're able to do it because they're scrappy and resourceful. And I think that kids, have that in spades.
Yeah, one of the students wanted to be in touch with Adele and me about starting a podcast.
That's right.
Mom, just the idea of us 20 years ago trying to start essentially a cable network is just us wrapped in cables. It's just wrapped in extension cords.
Right, I can see it, yeah.
Well, I see everybody gathering outside.
Great.
So we're going to close with our book racks.
Wonderful.
Because this is...
I'm gonna grab mine.
Grab yours. Okay. This is also reunion weekend, not just for me, but for SCH. So everybody's busy, and so I'm grateful that you made the time.
Oh, this has been such a pleasure.
This is so much fun. My choice is a book that I just started, and I thought it sounded interesting, and it's had good reviews, and it's called Hope for Cynics, The Surprising Science of Human Goodness by Jamil Zaki. And I liked it because I think we're finding ourselves in eras of mistrust and misinformation. And coming here, I thought, I'm glad I decided to recommend this because it felt like this is a culture of hope.
Great. Sounds interesting.
Mine is Girl Code by Andrea Gonzalez and Sophie Hauser. This is a memoir about teen girls, Andy and Sophie, and they meet at Girls Who Code and share their real life experience creating a viral video game. It's about how they navigated the world of STEM and sudden visibility, and it seemed perfect for inspiring young women to lead and create in the tech space. And I don't have it to show, but we will post the link and the cover and all the information.
Oh, great. That sounds right up my alley. I got to check that out. Mine is very on brand for what we're talking about today. It's called...
I love all the tabs.
Yeah, Raising an Entrepreneur. And it's 10 Rules for Nurturing Risk Takers, Problem Solvers, and Change Makers by Margot Bisno. As Priscilla pointed out, I've been reading this and referring to it for a number of years. What I love about this book is that it taps into the foundational core of CEL, which is that even if a young person is never going to go and launch their own enterprise in the real world, thinking and acting like an entrepreneur will serve them no matter what they pursue in their lives and their careers. So a great book if that's an area of interest for you.
It is. And thank you, Ed, so much.
Great.
Thank you for the generosity of your time, lending us your students and your space. This has been a joy, and it's been a dream of ours to be able to do this.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Nice being with both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
This was so invigorating. I learned so much today.
Great.
Thank you so much for listening to So Mom. And if you liked what you hear and see, please subscribe, share, and send us your wildest startup dreams.
And also, if your AI bot starts assigning homework, send it to Ed.
That's right. I'll take care of that right away.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.